The thing that really flew and was the most sellable that I was a salsa band leader, and I think that scared a lot of people. Although Thomas Jefferson was a violinist, you know, and Ronald Reagan was an actor.
Was the variety of music in South Bronx neighborhoods part of the glue in the melting pot that helped people get along? Did it kind of contribute to the general culture in addition to just being music?
It certainly helped me, for example, you know, the different music that were being played. And then the recordings that my brother would bring to the house. Plus, my brother already, by the time I was 11 years old, he was already playing with one of the top orchestras in New York, Mr. Tito Puente.
You could see the breakdown in the record. I could hear the band tell the other member, the drummer gonna get some, the guitar gonna get some, or they're going to a little solo drifts. So I used to watch this and watch particular people. I had to wait for this part of the record to come up. I said, oh, I wonder if I put all of these records back to back.
And put all those pieces back to back.
Up front, back to back, boom, boom. I call it the merry-go-round.
If you look at the history of hip-hop back in the 70s,
right.
Early 70s, right when Kool Herc moved to the Bronx, conditions there were horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Buildings were being burnt down by the landlords. The landlords were collecting the insurance money. So it just had a ripple effect all throughout the South Bronx. That's, if you remember in 1973, there was a lot of rubble. There was a lot of abandoned buildings. People were moving out.
I really don't want to start quoting "It's like a jungle out there." It makes me
It was a jungle. It was hard.
Did it have an effect on people? When they heard white lines, did they do more or less cocaine?
Well, that's up for debate. I know at first I did more.
I think the key challenge is to make a documentary which pays tribute to him, and at the same time make an objective film, meaning covering both sides of him, you know, the good and the bad, of course, and at the same time making sure that the fans appreciate the film.
2-3 days on location. And then
2-3 days for like the ones we just saw.
Yeah, and then I have the gist of it. But then it has to become a painting unto itself. It has to have its own life. And what I am really drawn to about a painting is that it should pull you in. You should feel like you can, you know, go, you know, explore it and look around the corner.
Have a class that talks about ecology, that talks about the natural world, is quite dry. To have the living thing and say this is out of the river that's down your block. The worst student in the world cannot help but feel compelled at life. This is like a junior robotics thing?
First Robotics also sponsor another competition for junior high school kids and elementary kids. It's First Lego League, and the objective is the same as ours, but they built their robot out of Legos.
Then there is something I think is fantastic because it's a great value. It's $20.
Okay.
And it is my little baby doll. Why don't you hold it?
I'll hold up. It'll be my pleasure if she's going to spit up or something. You know, I'm wearing a suit here.
She's warm.
Now, why is this baby and doll?
She's an unbelievably soft baby doll.
It is unbelievably
soft.
This is one that's actually been in an exhibit with a tiger, and you could see all these gouges, these scratches. These are just
these scratches are from the tigers.
From a Siberian tiger.
That's pretty amazing.
That's how hard, and it's reasonably heavy. I don't know exactly how, and you attach it to at least 230 pounds.
Right. Which has been broken.
I didn't warm up yet. Oh, this is
Bring
the
the feet back a
stupidest.
little bit more. There you go. Get the knee under. Push it over. All right.
This is actually a book.
A book?
A book. Those are pages. And you can see the binding at the top where the shadow is.
Wow.
And there's obviously light coming through. So.
And did you play with the developing or the imagery afterwards, or everything is as you capture it?
As you capture it. But then, you know, if you actually shooting it, you're controlling the studio environment, so you don't really need to control it afterwards.
Like land photography, you need a flash to eliminate the darkness.
And it is dark down there.
Well, after 15 feet of water, red is the first thing to go. The color is gone. This is called a drumfish, a very skittish fish, very hard to get communication with, I'll say.
And so so when you say communication, do you communicate with it in any way, shape, or form?
Well, what I meant is the connection where he is communicating to you.
And why don't you tell us how Tat's crew got started?
Well, we got our start early on in the early 80s, you know, doing the subway graffiti. We came up, you know, during those times painting, and over the years...
Not legally.
Not legally,
right,
of course not. Yeah, we were sanctioned by the city to paint. No, you know, it was all done illegally as kids when we grew up in New York watching it on the subways, of course. And as we got older, it's just something that we continued to do. And then I would say in the mid-90s, we began painting outdoors in the streets of the Bronx, and that led into something else where people were now recognizing us.
It convinced a number of people that not just people in the hood would deal with a book that has character of color as a lead. So that was, for me, a breakout. We got emails from Copenhagen, and I don't know, a lot of brothers that hang in there in Copenhagen.
Andrew Friedman, the whole history of the place was built in the early 1900s and was home for people that lost their money in the Depression. This is called Guinevere, and it's actually done from live cast, which is all my work. And it's all made out of cotton and then hand painted in oil. It's one of my older pieces.
Life size,
as
you would think. And who was the lucky person?
I'll tell you, that was my sister.
Good at science mostly, but as I started getting was in band, and they said I had to keep my grades up. I started excelling in science, and I started learning.
Could I put you on the spot and ask you to just play a couple of notes? Play something. Go ahead. Go.
How about
This is an instrument that we use in our culture, especially Afro-Cuban culture. It's a religious instrument actually called she kere, but it's been adapted to the secular world, and it's a combination of a drum and a shaker.